Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Truckers Podcast, FYI. I'm your host, Doug from Ontario, Canada. It is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the 3rd of July. Really warm out there today. Quite a swing than it was from Saturday. Sunday was a pretty nice day. Monday, Canada Day was a great day to get out there and enjoy all the activities. Tomorrow's Independence Day in the United States, July the 4th. So get out there, enjoy that, and be safe. And yeah, so I'm going to get this out. Friday, the 5th of July, I will have a guest speaker. Her name is Elizabeth. And we'll be talking a little bit overcoming adversity and other things she'll discuss. So be sure to come out for that on Friday, July the 5th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I did put out some more emails to people, and hopefully I get a response back and set up a date and time that's convenient for the guest speaker to be here on the Truckers Podcast. Hopefully be able to get at least 3 interviews a week to start. Hopefully that goes off. Hope it goes off really well because, it's great to have guest speakers on there and with their expertise and their knowledge, talk about a different variety of things as well. So working on it is what I'm doing. So mental health and diet, ultra-processed foods. We're shortening our lives, worsening people's health on at least 32 major health perimeters. The outcomes span mortality, cancer, and mental, respiratory, cardiovascular. The greater exposure to ultra-processed foods was associated with high risk of adverse health outcomes, mental disorder, mortality outcomes. So there's report that ultra-processed foods, which include packaged baked goods, snacks, fizzy drinks like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Orange Crush, whatever else you like to drink, sugary cereals, and ready-to-eat or heat products undergo multiple industrial processes like to put all the additives and preservatives in there, and we don't even know what they are. The ultra-processed foods are linked to 50% increased risk of cardiovascular disease-related death, 48 to 53% higher risk of anxiety and common mental disorders, and 12% greater risk of type 2 diabetes. And these ultra-processed foods are associated with 44 to 60% increase of risk of heart disease-related death, obesity, and sleep problems, 22% of increased risk of depression, and shortening of lives. The higher consumption of ultra-processed foods meant that there was a 21% greater risk of death overall from any cause, according to this study. Canadians are actually the second largest buyers of the ultra processed foods and drinks in the world, second only to the United States. And people in Canada get about 50% of their daily calories from ultra processed foods. Anything you're going to go eat, you're going to go to Subway, you're going to get all that lunch meat on there, you're going to get a whole pack sub and stuff like that. Yeah, you know what? You're going to throw on some veggies on there, some lettuce. All that lunch meat is highly processed, is ultra processed. It'd be like smoking and running. There's not going to be any benefits if you you put on your lettuce and you put on your green peppers, you put on your onions, you put on your olives, you put on all this crap on top of all that lunch meat. Is it going to benefit you? And we eat it every day. You go to your favorite coffee shop. You get your donuts, you get your coffee. The ultra processed foods could include items such as the sugary drinks, packaged snacks, chocolates, candies, industrial breads, cakes, biscuits, dessert, packaged soups and noodles, and frozen and ready to eat meals. And they're not only cheap and affordable, but they are also very attractive, and they make them very attractive. Just like the cereals for kids. They make the cereals very attractive for kids. So mom and dad buys them. Just to keep the kid happy, full well knowing that cereal has no nutritional value whatsoever. It's just a box of sugar. Might as well just go in the cupboard in the morning, get the refined sugar out, pour it in a bowl, put milk on it, and give it to the kid. Because that's what the cereal is. Just a box of sugar. But the thing is, it's cheap. It's affordable. This is what people can buy. The same with the other highly processed foods, especially when it comes to the ready frozen meals, frozen pizzas, whether it's frozen lasagna, whatever else you're going to buy, throw it in the oven, heat it for 45 minutes to an hour, you're good to go. And they're branded assertively, they're packaged attractively, and they're marked intensely. So if we look at the Health Canada recommendations, we're going to choose half our plate full of fruits and vegetables. A quarter of your plate will be whole grains. And then a quarter of your plate will be your protein choice. Now, that protein choice, whether it's chicken or whether it's steak or whether it's pork, should be no bigger or a bit smaller than a deck of cards. They recommend once to twice a week for animal products that you're going to buy and eat. See, in 2019, Canada, when they changed their food guide, they removed dairy completely. If you look up the 2019 Canada's food guide, There is no dairy products in there whatsoever. So Canada's Health recommends that I just told you, half your plate should be fruits and vegetables, a quarter of your plate should be whole grains, and a quarter of your plate should be your protein choice. Addiction to the ultra-processed foods affect 14% of adults and 12% of children around the world. Meanwhile, addiction to tobacco impacts 18% of adults globally. So now the cost of living crisis, we all know that. Made fresh products is tough for people to buy, which is increasing pressure on the food banks in many of Canada's major cities, and I'm sure that's in the United States and around the world. They say they're serving 1 in 10 people in Toronto at food banks. So they just passed another record in the past year. So it took them 38 years to get 1 million food bank visits in Toronto. It took us just 2 years to get to 2 million visits. And only in 1 year, 2023, to get 3 million visits at a food bank in Toronto. 2023. 3 million at food banks in Toronto in a year. 3 million. Sugary drinks offer high calorie, a lot of extra sugar and added sugar. Coca-Cola, when it says sugar-free, there's a substitute sugar in it. They don't, so Coca-Cola can say, well, it's sugar-free. Well, they didn't add refined sugar, but they added another additive of sweetener, which is just as bad as sugar. And they can get away with this. It's ridiculous. It's like, with the cereal for kids. Whether you buy General Mills or you buy Kellogg's, or however you buy your cereal at the grocery store, who makes it, it's all ultra processed. It's all refined crap. And yet they can advertise this to children. Oh, they can't advertise alcohol and tobacco to children, but they can advertise this cereal that is not healthy and get away with it. Now, obesity and overweight. 2 years ago, 1 in 8 people in the world were living with obesity. Worldwide, adult obesity has more than doubled since 1990, and the adolescents' obesity has quadrupled. In 2022, 2.5 billion adults 18 years and older were overweight. Of these, 890 people were living with obesity. In 2022, 43% of adults aged 18 years and over were overweight, and 16% were living with obesity. In 2022, 37 million children under the age of 5 were overweight. Over 390 million children and adolescents aged 5 to 19 years were overweight in 22, including 160 million who were living with obesity. And we can sit here and say, well, why? Hereditary? We could probably say that. Mother eating unhealthy during pregnancy, feeding you unhealthy as you're growing up. Nothing changes. You become obese. And the risks, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, can affect the bone health, reproduction, it can increase the risk of cancers. It also influences the quality of living, such as sleeping and or moving. In 2022, 2.5 billion adults aged 18 years and older were overweight, including 890 million adults who are living with obesity. That score corresponds to 43% of adults aged 18 years and over, 43% of men, and 44% of women who were overweight. An increase from 1990 when 25% of adults aged 18 years and over were overweight, and the prevalence of overweight varied from by region. In 2022, an estimated 37 million children under the age of 5 were overweight. Once considered a high-income country problem, overweight is on the rise in low and middle-income countries. And in Africa, the number of overweight children under 5 has increased by nearly 23% since 2000. So what's causing all this? The overweight and obesity. From the imbalance of energy intake, diet, energy expenditure, physical activity. I mean, look at it today's world with all the technology we have. You know, kids playing video games, sitting there eating all their snacks, the potato chips or whatever they're going to be eating, not going outside doing any physical activity. Maybe they do a little bit of running around at recess, but what school's out? Now it's the summertime. What are kids doing today? What your kids do all day? My kids growing up, but I have grandkids. I know when I was growing up, none of this stuff existed. None of this technology existed. There was no such thing as the internet, video games, cell phones. There was no social media. Oh, you had social, all right, face to face, outside, running around, riding your bikes. So when they the common health consequences. The health risks caused by overweight and obesities are well documented. So, being overweight in childhood and adolescence affects children's and the adolescent's immediate health and is associated with greater risk and earlier onset of various diseases such as type 2, cardiovascular disease, childhood and adolescent obesity. It has adverse psychological consequences. It affects their school performance, quality of life, compounded by stigma, discrimination, and bullying. Children with obesity are very likely likely to be adults with obesity and are also at a higher risk of developing other diseases. So I mean, they continue to be obese as they grow up. Nothing changes. So facing a double burden of malnutrition. So in the low and middle income countries face the so-called double burden of malnutrition. So while these countries continue to deal with the problems of infection diseases and undernutrition, they're also experiencing a rapid upsurge in the non-communicable disease risk factors such as obesity and overweight. Prevention and management, well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, so the World Health Organization, recommends that your physician, doctor, dietitian, or whoever you're seeing, help you through the steps. Doctors say smoking's not good for you. Don't smoke. Drinking's not good for you. Don't drink. But he or she is not going to tell you what you should and should not eat. They're going to put you on diet pills. They're going to put you on all kinds of prescriptions. Oh, we got to keep the pharmaceuticals going. Doctors are not going to treat you with nutrition. They don't want you to get better. They want you to keep coming back, so they keep giving you more drugs. More drugs you take, the happier the doctor is. He gets paid. Oh, you could do this yourself. Limit the consumption of sugar sweetened beverages and energy dense foods and promote other healthy eating behaviors. Healthy diet, physical activity, sleep duration, and quality. Avoid tobacco and alcohol. Limit the energy intake from total fats and sugars and increase consumption of fruits and vegetables, as well as legumes, whole grains, and nuts. Engage in regular physical activity. I, I, I can't even remember the last time I ate a chocolate bar or a donut or some sort of pastry. You know, I walk into, you know, the donut store. Maybe you've ever heard of it, Tim Hortons. It's the big staple coffee shop, donut shop here in Canada. Started in 1964 by the name of Tim Horton, who played in the National Hockey League. It's a staple here in Canada. I occasionally drink alcohol. I mean, I used to be a weekend binge drinker. I didn't have time throughout the week to have beer. I didn't want to go to work feeling all hungover. I go on the weekends and binge drink. Friday, Saturday nights. Not anymore. Have the occasional beer. When sports are on TV, well, I mean, hockey not ended what, a week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. 2 weeks ago, hockey finally ended. Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup, beat the Edmonton Oilers. Went out with my buddies, had a couple beers. Didn't have any beer since. I need to engage in more physical activity. Yes, I need to do that. If I do have a hamburger, or have some red meat or chicken, or whatever, um, I generally eat whole food, plant based, but I have the odd burger here and there. I'm not a vegan. Just trying to just eat differently. I sleep better. I feel I feel better when I wake up in the morning. I don't feel run down. But I just changed, just cut out all that ultra processed foods. And I walk into the grocery store and I go over to where the bread is. And of course you got your white bread and your whole wheat bread. Then as you move along the aisle of the breads, it becomes more quality, you know, from, a $2 loaf of bread up to a $6 loaf of bread, gluten free. All the pastries, all the baked goods, all around there, all the cookies and everything else they have out there. It doesn't even faze me. Just walk right by it, grab whatever kind of bread that I want, and I walk right, and it's right there. You can't miss it. I mean, they put it there on purpose. They want you to walk by it. It's like the chip aisle. I think it's like the first aisle I go down in the grocery store. If I was cutting over to another aisle, first thing is right there. I mean, it's got to be 3/4 of the wall all potato chips. It's crazy. Then you got all your sodas. And then it leads you around to all the other frozen foods, all the ultra processed frozen foods. Then over and then right into the dairy or the meat section. Where you get all your pork and chicken and beef and sausage and your pasta aisle. They set up the grocery store a certain way because they want you to go down these aisles to where all this ultra processed foods are, and they want you to buy it. It's easy to go home on a Friday night. I get it. People are busy. People, hustling and bustling all week, and you know, mom and dad, or just mom or whatever, coming home. Stop along the way, pick up a hot and ready pizza, or order a pizza. Order Kentucky Fried Chicken or Mary Brown's Chicken. It's easy, right? Pick up McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. You call home and you call home and ask the kids what they want. Well, you know, they're gonna say, I want pizza, I want McDonald's, I want Wendy's. And just make it so easy, right? Affordability. So what can policies and the actions include? Even government policies, more regulation on the food industry. The structural, their fiscal and the regulatory actions aimed at creating healthy food environments that make healthier food options available. So available and affordable, accessible, desirable. And the health sector response designed and equipped to identify risk, prevent, treat and manage the diseases. Well, they treat the diseases with medication. Doctors don't treat you with nutrition. They treat you with medication. Now cut back on that stuff. Don't eat so much potato chips. Stop eating so many hot dogs. Stop eating so many hamburgers. Here's your prescription. The food industry can play a significant role in promoting healthy diets. And you think the food industry is actually going to do this? Reducing the fat, sugar, and salt content of all the processed food? Probably not. Ensuring that healthy and nutritional choices are available and affordable to all consumers? Probably not. Restricting marketing of foods of high in sugar, salt, and fats, especially those foods aimed at children and teenagers? Probably not. Ensuring the availability of healthy food choices and supporting regular physical activity practice in the workplace? Are you kidding me right now? You actually think the food industry was going to play that significant role in that? No, they're not. Because if they were, they would have done it. You wouldn't have all this frickin' crap in the grocery stores. And they'd be making the healthier choices cheaper for people to buy. The food industry is not going to get off their ass and play a significant role in promoting healthy diets. So the World Health Organization recognized the need to tackle the global obesity crisis in an urgent manner for many years. And the World Health Assembly global nutrition targets aiming to assure no increase in childhood overweight and to halt the rise of diabetes and obesity by 2025. Well, this is 2024. What the hell have they been doing? Not a goddamn thing. So at the 75th World Health Assembly in 2022, member states demanded and adopted new recommendations for the prevention and management of obesity and endorsed the World Health Organization Acceleration Plan to stop obesity. And since its endorsement, the Acceleration Plan has shaped the political environment to generate needed for sustainable change, create a platform to shape, streamline, and prioritize policy, support, implement in all these countries, and drive impact and strengthen accountability at a national global level. I haven't even seen it. I don't think you have neither. It's nice to sit down at a round table, spew the bullshit. You know, the governments aren't going to put pressure on the food industry, and certainly they're not going to go after the beef industry. God forbid they do that. Boy, that'd just be tied up in the courts forever. See, Canada, you know, when we changed the food health guide here in Canada, 2019, completely removing all dairy products. Yeah, the dairy industry got upset, but whippy shit. Now, here's another fact. Of all the 32 teams in the National Hockey League, there's only one team, and that team is right here in Ontario. The Toronto Maple Leafs has the logo milk on their jerseys. The only team in the entire hockey league. So the dairy industry advertising on the Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys, promoting dairy. I mean, you can look it up yourself. Google search Canada's Food Health Guide 2019. Alternative: soya milk, almond silk milk. Unsweetened, by the way, and they do make it. Would be an alternative choice to dairy. Cutting back on everything, not everything, all the ultra-processed foods, the ultra-processed foods. Now, when we look at the obesity stats in Canada, and although obesity in Canada has not reached the same levels of obesity in the United States, Canada still has a higher prevalence of obesity than others, similar wealthy and developed countries. I mean, the population of Canada is only 40 million, and what do you have, 380 million in the United States? So we're not going to reach the same levels of obesity that the United States has. Now, so the rates of obesity in Canada have steadily increased in recent years, making obesity one of the country's biggest health problems. Being overweight or obese increase the risk of the developing a number of serious health conditions, including high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, stroke, certain types of cancers. In addition, the financial cost to a country of having a large overweight or obese population can be substantial. One example, a study estimated that the annual productivity cost from disability due to obesity in Canada was 11.8 billion Canadian dollars. That was in 2020. So, here, even if you went from number of Canadians reported diabetes diagnosis from 2003 to 2022. So the number of Canadians reported diabetes being diagnosed from 2003 to 2022. In 2022, around 2.58 million Canadians reported they have been diagnosed by a healthcare professional of having diabetes. And this stat displays the estimate number of Canadians aged 12 years and over who reported being diagnosed with diabetes from 2003 to 2022. So how does that? So overweight, obesity, eating the ultra processed food, our mental health, and why do we? I mean, we love it, right? We love eating this stuff. We like going out and getting that pizza, those burgers, those chips, all those baked goods. We eat them because we're happy, and we eat them because we're sad. When we're sad, we want comfort food. So we go to what we relate to comfort food is. But then when we're feeling better, we still eat that comfort food because now we're excited. Maybe we're excited to celebrate something. So that comfort food now is the happy food. It's like the happy meal for kids. And it does affect our cognitive. It affects the way we think, the way we sleep, concentrate. Even when we're feeling down or feeling depressed, we reach for that food. You eat it every day regardless. I don't know what to say. I can't tell you. I can't tell you, what to eat, what not to eat. It's up to you what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat it and how much you're going to eat it. It's up to you how much you're going to drink. I can say don't drink too much. I mean, tomorrow is Independence Day in the United States, is celebrating your independence. Monday just passed, or what's today? Wednesday. Is it Wednesday already? Holy crap. So, so Monday was Canada Day. Canada just celebrated its 157th birthday. And you get to celebrate your independence. I can't tell you what, I mean, advertisement, and when it comes to the big breweries here in Canada, they say drink responsibly, meaning don't drink and drive, but drink responsibly. Take it however you want. Drink responsibly, so don't drink and drive. Drink responsibly, and don't get drunk. They know you're going to get drunk, but don't drink and drive. Go out there and celebrate your Independence Day tomorrow in the United States. Celebrate it safely, peacefully. Enjoy your family and friends. I know you're going to have your big barbecues. You're going to have your barbecues. You're going to have your hot dogs. You're going to have your hamburgers. You're going to have your steaks. You're going to have your chicken. You're going to have all this stuff. Then you're going to pull out all the desserts, all the pastries and cakes and everything imaginable. Can't tell you not to eat it. The doctor would just tell you to cut back. You're going to eat what you're going to eat. Your health is on you. That's about it. That's all I can say to you. Just try to eat better. Maybe I can say that. Just try to eat a little bit better. Do you have to have hot dogs and steak and chicken and pork and sausages and bacon and eggs and all that stuff every single day? Can if you want. It's up to you. It's your body, your health. But until then, well, until Friday anyways. So I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I have a guest speaker coming on my show. Should be talking about overcome adversity. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually, it's I tried to get her on my show before, and that was before Easter. And that fell through, and then I thought, well, I didn't even have a backup, right? But I did get another guest, Ethan Brown. He's a climate journalist, and he came on the show on Easter Sunday. So, anyways, yeah, so she's going to be a guest speaker here on the Truckers Podcast, FYI, Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about overcome adversity. Her name's Elizabeth. She also is Canadian. I'm working on. I've sent out a couple emails to 4 others. So what I was trying to do is getting, Monday, so coming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I sent out 4 more. Now it's going to be a hit and miss. And then tomorrow, if I get an email back, because you got to remember, people, are not just sitting around waiting to be guest speakers on podcasts or other social media platforms. They're out there giving interviews and being guest speakers, and they have lives too, and busy lives. So I think, I got lucky on this one. But I'm going to keep putting them out there. And eventually someone's going to respond. And I'll just have to set up the date and times. And in the meantime, if I don't get anybody for Monday, well, then I'll have to fill the void and come up with something to talk about. And then, it's just a wait and see. And hopefully get more guests on the show. I like to be able to build it up at least 3 times a week. At least that many times. If I get twice a week for right now, fine. But I like to get it to 3. Because it's a lot of work. I work every day. I come home in the evenings. And I send out these emails. And I don't keep checking back on my emails. Tomorrow when I check my emails, if it's there, great. Set up a date and time. So tomorrow, I'll be looking, tomorrow I'll look for more guest speakers. And it's on podcastguest.com. So whole array of professionals and topics to discuss, but it's just getting them on the show. But Friday, like I said, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guest speaker Elizabeth will be on the show. So come on out and have a listen. And thank you for joining me tonight here on the Truckers Podcast. Appreciate my listeners, my followers. And that I know the show has had its lapses. I'm not perfect. I have my own problems. And just trying to get back into this now because, I updated a lot of stuff. I updated the microphone. I updated the interface. Updated the laptop. Updated the mic boom. Spent a few bucks and he was just sitting on my desk. So I got, I gotta be out here. I want to be out here. But life happens. You know that, and I know that. So I'm just trying to overcome some things. And getting back at doing this. I started this podcast in 2019. This is 2024. I want to keep it going. I like having you out here. I hope you come back on the show and listen in, especially Friday. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your co-workers, tell your neighbors. It's going to be a great guest speaker for sure. Now you can go back on my podcast and go back to Easter Sunday. And that interview I had with Ethan Brown, the climate journalist, I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy that. And you're most certainly will enjoy this Friday at 8:30 p.m. with this guest speaker that's coming on here too. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your week. United States, enjoy your 4th of July. Be responsible, take care, and be safe. And until Friday at 8:30 p.m., enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you very much. This is the Truckers Podcast, FYI. I'm your host, Doug from Ontario, Canada. Take care, and thank you.